Tonight on CTV News at 6, Edmontonians vote. A day where change is guaranteed at City Hall.
So much of what the municipal politicians are doing affect our day-to-day lives in really tangible ways.
Justice for Samuel Bird!
Rallying for Samuel Bird as his accused killer's case is up in court.
I am grateful for everyone that showed up today. I'm really happy. It makes me happy to see all the support.
And
Let's go, Blue Jay!
the Blue Jays are one win from the World Series.
Get ready for another warming trend as temperatures get back into the mid-teens in the coming days.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. It is Municipal Election Day in Alberta. People across the province are voting for their next mayor, council, and school board trustees. Some Edmontonians have walked away from their polling stations, saying the wait to vote isn't worth their time. CTV's Evan Kenny joins us now from West Edmonton polling station. Evan, how are those lines looking now?
Jeff, there's been a steady stream of people coming to and from here at Jasper Park Community League throughout the day. Right now, there's a little less than 24, which is much less than some other polling stations around the city, like in Waquentwin or in McKernan, where viewers have told us that there's been over 100 people in line and that they are having to wait more than an hour to cast their ballot. Now, some people we spoke with blame the long lines on the changes made by the province ahead of this election, now requiring all votes to be counted by hand. All electors are required to fill out a statement of eligibility form at the voting station. Some people also need to be added to the permanent electors register before receiving their ballots. Other people waiting in line told us problems with the Wi-Fi was slowing down the registration process. The city says it was dealing with internet issues early in the day, and tech teams were sent out to deal with those issues and reboot the system. Regardless of why, the delays stopped some people from voting this afternoon.
Well, we didn't get to vote. I have to go to work, so we had to leave because we got here and registered or filled out the form. A long lineup ahead of us, and it looked like it was taking 5 minutes-ish per person, so we did some math and figured out we'd have to come back later.
You don't get the day off for voting, do you? So, I'm just saying the people who can make it here are making it here, but like I say, waited a long time.
Voting stations are open tonight until 8 o'clock. Anyone in line at 8 will be allowed to vote. Now, the city says with all the changes to the voting process, it has no way to reliably estimate wait times, and it's asking people for patience and to plan ahead. Jeff?
All right, thank you. That's Evan Kenny live for us tonight. The Edmonton Chamber of Commerce held the first mayoral debates of the municipal election. The chamber selected who it perceived as the candidates with a realistic chance of winning the chair. They include City Councillors Tim Cartell and Andrew Knack, former City Councillor Michael Walters, former Member of Parliament for Edmonton Rahim Jaffer, and political newcomer and dental surgeon Omar Mohammed. Two-time City Councillor Tim Cartell is considered one of the likelier mayoral candidates to succeed tonight. His candidacy for mayor was an open secret for months before he became one of the first to throw his hat into the ring. CTV's Connor Hogg is downtown at the JW Marriott's Gretzky Ballroom, where Cartell's campaign is holding his election night event. Connor, how's the mood?
Well, Jeff, I spoke with some of the people behind the scenes of Tim Cartell's Better Edmonton campaign a little less than an hour ago. They say that they're excited, although they do wish that they were able to fast forward over the next few hours because it's expected to be quite a while before results start to come in. Now, this is a twofold spot. This is not only the headquarters for Tim Cartell's mayoral campaign, it's also the headquarters of his Better Edmonton political party. Cartell is the only mayoral candidate affiliated with a municipal political party this election cycle. Cartell established the party, a full slate of city council candidates, including fellow incumbent Karen Principe, and running on a campaign of lower business taxes, increased safety, and more coordination in city planning. Cartell is also pledging a 40-day infill election action plan. Political analysts we've spoken to over the last month say Cartell's infill vote no-show at the start of the summer break could impact tonight's result. This morning, our cameras caught up with Cartell at his voting station. He says he feels guardedly optimistic about his chances and is proud of the message that he's brought to Edmontonians.
I think we've seen that a lot of people in Edmonton want to see a change. They want to see a change from certainly the previous 4 years that poll after poll and survey after survey showed us that. And we have carried the message that we represent the change that people want to see, that we have a team that will be able to deliver that change.
Now, regardless of tonight's result, Cartell has pledged to dissolve the Better Edmonton Party at the end of this election. And soon we'll find out what Edmontonians thought of his and his party's message. Jeff?
All right, Connor, thank you. Connor Hogg live downtown tonight. Another well-known candidate for the mayor's seat is Andrew Knack. The three-term councillor is seen by many as the progressive choice this election. City Hall reporter Jeremy Thompson is at the Knack watch party on White Ave this evening with more. Jer.
Well, Jeff, just a few hours now until polls close, and volunteers with Knack's campaign, including his parents, Richard and Margaret, are here setting up the watch party tonight. Knack joined this mayoral race relatively late in the process. It was only about a year ago that he announced he was planning to step away from politics entirely. Then, when current mayor Amarjeet Sohi announced he'd be running federally for the Liberals and not seeking re-election as mayor, Knack stepped forward. Of course, he's been leaning on his experience on city council. As you mentioned, he's a three-term city councillor. Now, while he is seen as a left-leaning candidate, Knack is campaigning on some similar ideas to his opponents. He wants to bring down taxes through a zero-based budgeting system, but says his plan reflects the city's financial reality. On infill housing, he's calling to reduce the maximum unit count on mid-block projects. Many of his competitors want the same. He also ran as an independent, where his main competitor, Tim Cartell, started the Better Edmonton Party and raised more than 10 times what Knack did.
We knew that not having a party would mean we were always going to be under-resourced on the financial side. But we had the most incredible group of volunteers who have just spent all their time helping us get the information out to Edmontonians.
Initial campaign disclosures reflect money collected through July. They show Knack raised about $54,000 compared to nearly $850,000 raised by Cartell. Some political analysts believe Cartell's campaign will spend more than $1 million by the time the dust settles on this election, more than any other mayoral campaign in Edmonton ever. And this morning, Andrew Knack told reporters after voting that it was a little strange to mark an X next to his name for mayor. Of course, he's used to only doing that on council races until now. Voting was not the only thing on his agenda today. Andrew Knack spent the rest of the day getting out the vote and helping with his campaign volunteers to make that happen. Jeff?
All right, Jeremy, thank you. That's Jeremy Thompson live for us. Now, both Cartell and Andrew Knack's wards are open competitions. Ward Nakota Iska and Pihesawin have 6 candidates vying for those seats. The third ward with no incumbent is Sipiwiniwak. There are 7 candidates listed who want to get Sarah Hamilton's old council seat. Another former city councillor is taking a run at the mayor's seat. Michael Walters cast his ballot this afternoon. Walters says he's proud of his campaign and what his team accomplished.
Glad that it's over. Anxious about the results. Hopeful, but grateful that we, put together a great campaign in 3 months. Talked to tens of thousands of people. Wide recognition that our platform was the most comprehensive, the most relevant, the most innovative thing that Edmonton needs right now. So let's hope the voters agree.
Former Edmonton Conservative MP Rahim Jaffer cast his ballot this morning. He's also feeling optimistic heading into today's vote.
I feel going into the today's vote that there still were a lot of people who are sizing up, the choices, honing in on what's important for them. And the theme I heard throughout the whole campaign was change. I think people wanted change.
Dozens rallied outside the law courts today demanding justice for Samuel Bird. His accused killer was scheduled for a bail hearing that didn't happen. Amanda Anderson explains why.
No justice, no peace. Justice for Samuel Bird.
Family and supporters gathered outside the courthouse this morning to be a voice for 14-year-old Samuel Bird, the teen who disappeared June 1st and whose remains were found last week.
Justice for Samuel Bird.
So I thought it was very important we come here to support the family.
I am grateful for everyone that showed up today. I'm really happy. It makes me happy to see all the support.
The man accused of killing the teen, 38-year-old Brian Farrell, was scheduled for a bail hearing. A lawyer appeared briefly on his behalf, and the case adjourned to another date.
I didn't expect nothing much of it today. I just wanted to see his face, see him, but he didn't come on the screen. I just wanted to see, if I should call him an animal or what, I don't know what to call him, but I wanted to see his face.
Farrell is facing more than a dozen charges in relation to Bird's death, including second-degree murder and interfering with a body. Lawyer Graham Rapson, who is not affiliated with the case, says the Provincial Court of Justice doesn't have jurisdiction to decide Farrell's bail.
Only superior courts can deal with bail in relation to charges that are listed under Section 469 of the Criminal Code. Typically, the only charge that really is relevant to is murder. So typically it will just go into provincial court more for scheduling purposes.
Even though it's a process that will take time, Barbara Houle hopes the support continues.
We still have to keep supporting Alana and her family while they go through the court system now.
Farrell will remain in custody. His next appearance in provincial court is November 10th. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The UCP government expects to table at least 15 pieces of legislation during the upcoming fall session. One of them will include new rules on who can run in provincial elections. Government House Leader Joseph Scow says the Justice Statutes Amendment Act will ensure only those who, quote, truly care and are serious about representing a community will be put on the ballot. In August, more than 200 people were registered to run in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election.
We have seen instances around the country where certain interest groups have taken upon themselves to confuse, I think, in some instances, some of the those who are going to the ballot box and creating very long ballots. But in terms of our intent, again, is to clarify the process, make it easier for people who are genuinely interested in running for office to get on the ballot and convey their message.
CTV News reached out to the province for further details, and we're told they will come once the legislation is tabled. The fall sitting starts Thursday with a speech from the throne. A group petitioning to keep Alberta in Canada believes they have reached their signature goal 8 days before the deadline. 2 weeks ago, the Forever Canadian group said it had collected 230,000 signatures. It needs 291,000. About 6,500 volunteers have been collecting names for the petition, which asks the signee if Alberta should remain in Canada. The leader of this effort believes more than 300,000 signatures have been gathered, but he says they want to get as many as possible as insurance.
Inevitably, when you collect 300,000 signatures, there will be some mistakes. People were signing in the cold, in the rain, in a rush, so those signatures will get disqualified. So we want to overshoot by about 10% to be able to sleep at night and know that we hit that 300,000 mark.
He says you can expect to see volunteers near polling stations today. The deadline is October 28th. An opposing petition is still before the courts. The Edmonton Elks are now playing for pride, having been eliminated from playoff contention over the weekend. This marks the 5th consecutive year the team will be watching the CFL playoffs from home. The Elks are sitting at 7 wins, 10 losses, following a 37-24 defeat in BC on Saturday. The last time the franchise finished a season with a winning record was in 2017. The team returned to practice today, preparing for one last regular season game.
You always want to be in control at the end of the year, and we are not, and unfortunately we're out. It's a sad reality, but also as a professional, you also have to find motivation outside of things that are out of your control.
We're scratching and clawing to try to get there. Obviously, we fell short of that goal this year, but we still are focused on playing well at home, and I think that's something that we've been trying to build on through the back half of the season.
Despite missing the playoffs, the team is currently riding a 4-game home winning streak. They'll finish the season against the Calgary Stampeders at Commonwealth on Friday. An Edmonton area business is putting a new spin on the classic haunted house. This is No Bull RV's haunted trailer. It's located in the parking lot of the Leduc business. It has a warning about entering. However, visitors are welcome to check it out and bring a donation for the food bank. The trailer was originally a trade-in that arrived in scary condition.
So we decided, you know what, let's turn it into something. It turned into a little bit of a project that the staff enjoyed. They started ripping things out of it and painting the outside and inside and making it into something that's turned into a benefit to the community because we can help the food bank.
Organizers are trying to collect 1,000 pounds worth of food donations. The trailer opens today. It stays open until November 1st. Iconic Canadian rock band Rush is adding more dates to its reunion tour, including a stop in Edmonton. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson say they're adding 17 new cities to the tour. The band will play Rogers Place December 10th, 2026. It'll be the first time Rush hits the road since the death of their drummer Neil Peart in 2020. German drummer Annika Niles is filling in. Tickets for the tour go on sale on Halloween, October the 31st. Well, not a bad day to get out and vote, Josh.
No, I mean, the sunshine came out nicely through this afternoon, and that helped boost temperatures. It was kind of a gusty, cool start to the day. I think tomorrow it's the afternoon that could be a little windier than the morning hours. Take a look at current temperatures around the Edmonton area. We're at 9 degrees. 6 off to the east at Elk Island. Villeneuve Airport, International Airport, sitting at 7s. It was 10 degrees yesterday, 10 degrees today. That's the cool spot in the forecast, and it's no worse than average. 10 is the average daytime high. It's just that it was 14 on Saturday, and we'll be back in that territory, it looks like, for tomorrow and Wednesday. Started the day at 3 degrees this morning with those gusty winds, and I think it'll be 2 or 3 degrees above zero again tomorrow morning. We do have some clearing out there after a little bit of cloud cover this afternoon. If you look off to the northwest, there are some showers up in the Peace Country. There's a low pressure system that's going to drag its way east across northern Alberta, and so there is a slight chance around midnight or into the wee hours of tomorrow morning to see a scattered shower in and around the Edmonton area. It really doesn't look like any significant precipitation. Temperatures around 2 degrees tomorrow morning, and we'll get some clearing as the day goes on. So mainly sunny to partly cloudy skies in the afternoon with a high of about 13 or 14 degrees. There's your wind. Light in the morning at about west 10 kilometers per hour, but gusting to around 30 kilometers per hour midday and through the early afternoon hours. 13 degrees tomorrow. Gets even warmer for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Could be close to 18 to 20 degree range by the end of the week again. All those details in a couple minutes.
Okay, thanks, Josh. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, the avian flu is detected at an Alberta petting farm.
We don't know why yet. Any infection can be very dependent on what's going on in the environment.
The impact on people and animals also ahead.
Up in the tree, there was 4 of them up there.
Alberta City seeing a population boom of masked critters. Stay with us.
Coming up Tuesday on Your Morning, we'll be gathering the latest election results from around the Edmonton area. Plus, the host of Traders Canada tells us about a deceitful Season 3.
Your Morning Edmonton, weekdays.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
A popular petting farm northwest of Calgary has been shut down because of an avian influenza outbreak. As CTV's Tyler Barrow reports, health officials say the risk to people is low.
Butterfield Acres is now closed after AHS issued a formal closure order Friday amid a bird flu outbreak. The petting farm saying on Facebook, Butterfield Acres is temporarily closed to the public following confirmation of avian influenza in 2 of our birds. This decision was made in consultation with federal and provincial animal health authorities to protect the health and safety of all our animals, staff, and community. There are another 7 suspected cases at the farm. CTV News did make numerous attempts to contact Butterfield Acres, but we received no response. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency and Butterfield Acres won't say how many birds have been culled due to the outbreak there, but as of October 15th, Ottawa counts more than 2 million killed from infected flocks in Alberta. The risk for human infection of avian flu is low.
Most of the time when people get this infection, they get quite mild symptoms and they have things like that look like pink eye, so they get conjunctivitis, inflammation of their eyelids.
Dana Goldsmith, a veterinarian pathologist, says avian influenza cases have been on the rise in Alberta since the beginning of September.
We don't know why yet. Any infection can be very dependent on what's going on in the environment, so it could be environmental conditions.
Anyone who visited the petting farm between October 6th and 12th and has flu-like symptoms is asked to contact HealthLink at 811 for assessment and testing. On Monday, the Calgary Zoo announced it was moving its birds indoors and closing avian exhibits due to bird flu in close proximity. The CFIA says Butterfield Acres is the only active case in the Calgary region. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
There is an alternative to Canadian beef showing up on grocery store shelves. Beef from Australia and New Zealand, sometimes at a lower price. It comes at a time when Canadian producers say they're struggling with lower demand. CTV's Kathy Lee reports.
Dylan Biggs' family have been ranchers in this province since the 50s. He says the main factor driving up the cost of beef is the shrinking herd sizes.
In 2016, we had 7 good years. We had more grass than we knew what to do with. We went through a drought right through to 2024, and so our cow herd has been cut in half.
Smaller herds means higher prices because there isn't enough to meet the demand. Canadian government data shows the majority of imported beef still comes from the U.S., but between 2014 to 2024, the percentage of imported beef from the U.S. has decreased from 67% to 48%, while imported beef from all other countries, including Australia and New Zealand, has increased from 33% to 52%.
Grocers want to keep traffic going to the meat counter. It's a very lucrative space for them, and so to keep consumers engaged, they have to offer something affordable.
The rancher says the reason why beef from Australia and New Zealand is cheaper is because they don't have to deal with harsh winters, which means producing the meat is less expensive than the domestic option. Biggs says he expects the amount of imported beef to increase even more unless the size of herds in Canada are substantially increased, which would bring down the prices.
More and more raccoons are being spotted around Calgary's green spaces and nearby neighborhoods. As CTV's Tim Brooke reports, the critters are polarizing.
The first time she saw the unexpected guests, Cheryl Mason was shocked.
Oh my goodness, they're here right in our backyard.
Mason and her husband captured this late-night heist from their front drive in Douglasdale to their backyard pear tree.
They were up in the tree. There was 4 of them up there.
5 years ago, it was a rare sight, but these days, raccoons aren't so uncommon in Calgary.
There's probably multiple factors that are leading to it. We are seeing milder winters, which might be helping them shift their range into new areas. And they also are coming from other areas. We know sometimes they end up on transport trucks and they end up here.
The city of Calgary does not track exact populations, but wildlife cameras over the last half-decade have increasingly caught the raccoons in places like Fish Creek Park and Weaselhead Flats.
They are finding ideal habitat in there. Those old spruce trees are creating excellent denning sites, and they're also finding lots of food in the park and also in the surrounding neighborhoods.
Which isn't always a good thing. Raccoons populate quickly and have a tendency to go where they're not wanted.
2014 to 2015, I caught 2. This year, we had about 40 calls for raccoon.
This pest control crew has responded to dozens of damaged homes as the animals look for food and shelter.
Sometimes people say, I thought there was somebody in my attic. I've seen them like ripping insulation, go in the wall, scratching through it, and it's like it makes a mess.
So the message to Calgarians, especially those close to green spaces, is simple. Secure your trash and call experts if you start to sense a problem. Feel free to snap a few photos, too. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
Still ahead, a look at what today's election means to Edmontonians.
So much of what the municipal politicians are doing affect our day-to-day lives in really tangible ways, and I think it's really important to get out and vote.
Yeah, you can see the wind. That was obviously shot this morning as the wind was a little gusty. Tomorrow afternoon could be a little gusty once again, but temperatures are on the upswing. Full look at your 5-10-day forecast in a couple minutes.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
You still have time to cast your ballot for Edmonton's next mayor and council. Low turnout in previous elections has one political analyst hoping more people come out to vote today. CTV's Gates Guarin has more.
Voters headed to the polls are making a decision that will affect the city's direction over the next 4 years, and Edmontonians have a lot to consider.
Bike lanes need to be rethought. The LRT system needs to be rethought.
Definitely the roads, and in the wintertime, the snow removal is a big concern about me.
Many people we spoke with see the importance of voting in this election.
So much of what the municipal politicians are doing affect our day-to-day lives in really tangible ways, and I think it's really important to get out and vote.
Others are waiting until the very end to make their decision.
I just haven't really done much research about it, but I know it's pretty big among people right now, and it's an important time to do it.
Actually, no, I haven't really even given it much thought, but I do want to vote. That's my opinion for sure. I just want to do some more research with the candidates and stuff like that.
Some are not getting involved at all.
I've just never really got involved in the municipal part of it. The federal elections and the provincials are overwhelming for me as it is.
As the election has gone on, it really hasn't generated a lot of excitement with Edmontonians.
Political analyst John Brennan says turnout is usually lower in municipal elections compared to provincial or federal ones. 37.6% of eligible voters cast a ballot in the last municipal election. Brennan says events like the ongoing teacher strike and U.S. politics could impact turnout in this year's election.
There are just so many other distractions in the news that it just seems that this year the municipal election in Edmonton just hasn't resonated with Edmontonians.
He adds with the Canada Post strike, people may not even be getting the message.
With a postal strike on, Edmontonians have not gotten their get out the vote cards in the mail. And traditionally, that's when people are reminded, oh yeah, there's an election on.
Brennan says you still have time to make an informed decision on who you would like to see lead Edmonton's vision. Gates Guarin, CTV News, Edmonton.
All right, Josh, warming up again.
Yeah, right. It's the same old story. I mean, coming off the long weekend, it had cooled off, and then it warmed up really nicely through last week. And then again, yesterday and today. On the cooler side, at only 10 degrees for daytime highs. As we mentioned earlier, that's no worse than average. Action Furnace River Valley Sky Camps brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right at its free. It's 9 degrees downtown right now. As you can see, the skies have cleared out nicely after a bit of cloud cover earlier in the day today. 4s and 5s here, east central, northeastern Alberta. You'll warm up in a big way tomorrow. 10 in Edmonton as well as Grand Prairie. Jasper at 8 degrees this afternoon. There's your showers. Just off to the west of Peace River and east of Grand Prairie. And it looks like probably all of this precipitation will stay north of the Edmonton region as this area low pressure moves off to the east, but there's a slight chance overnight tonight. For now, we're into this nice little clearing. It's late tonight that some of these clouds will go through. I think the bigger story with these clouds is not so much precipitation. Yes, sure, the ground might be a little bit wet when you wake up tomorrow morning, but they're going to help insulate things and hold temperatures above zero by 2 or 3 degrees through the overnight. So there's 1 a.m. Chances of some mixed precipitation up around Fort McMurray, Edmonton area, 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. There's a chance you might see a scattered shower in the area. Again, it's not going to amount to all that much, if anything. There's your clearing through tomorrow morning, and we're under mainly sunny skies by tomorrow afternoon. Looks like mainly sunny with a few thin clouds through the afternoon hours on Wednesday. It's another area of low pressure off to the west on Wednesday, and an upper ridge that starts to build in some warmer air in the mid and upper levels that'll pump its way in from the south. And so that will boost temperatures into the mid to upper teens, maybe even close to 20 by the end of the week. 4 degrees in Fort McMurray right now. It's 8 in Grand Prairie, 6 in Red Deer currently, and we're at 9 after that high of 10 earlier in the day. By 9 p.m., should be in the 5-degree range. Not dropping all that much once that cloud cover rolls in. And as we said, after midnight or around midnight into the early morning hours tomorrow, that slight chance of shower. 2 degrees and light wind tomorrow morning. By lunchtime, the wind starts to pick up, and through the early afternoon hours, we're looking at gusts to about 30 kilometers per hour. High of around 13, maybe 14 tomorrow afternoon. 15 or 16 for Wednesday with mainly sunny skies. We'll probably drop below zero, though, Wednesday morning as skies will be clear overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. The wind should die down Tuesday night. 16 and 17 for Thursday, Friday, but I think I'm being conservative there, especially on Friday. Could be a couple of degrees warmer than that. Into the weekend, 12 Saturday, 10 on Sunday, so that's still around or slightly above average. And even those 6s and 7s for the early to middle part of next week, take a look at how that compares to average. Average daytime high goes from 10 today to 5 by the 30th and 31st of October. We're in that time of year where the average daytime high drops pretty quickly. So we're way above average here through the next 3 to 4 days, and then no worse than around average to close the month of October.
Thanks, Josh. Coming up on the offensive against fraud.
My aim is to go after organized crime, is to go after those who scam and defraud Canadians.
Canada's new financial crimes unit and Canada's team swinging for the World Series. Stay with us.
Superheroes and blockbusters with your Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. Learn more at winspearcenter.com.
The Carney government revealed today November's federal budget will include plans for a new financial crimes unit to investigate money laundering and fraud. CTV's Michael Couture reports.
According to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, financial scams cost people in this country $643 million last year. It's why, after 5 years of promising to tackle the problem, the Liberals are finally acting.
Budget 2025 will introduce Canada's first ever national anti-fraud strategy.
The strategy is also coming with a new agency that will target money laundering and online fraud. Canada plans to collaborate with other countries to target those transnational crimes.
We're talking to the FBI. We're going to talk to the financial crime unit in the UK. But, you know, my aim is to go after organized crime, is to go after those who scam and defraud Canadians.
There's no doubt that it's really late in the game.
Cybersecurity experts point out the Liberal government promised a financial crimes agency 5 years ago. And they say this multilateral collaboration with other countries is key to catching these types of criminals.
There's a culture of cooperation that needs to be built within our regulatory institutions, within our law enforcement, and within the financial system.
That's partly why the government will amend the Bank Act to require express consent from account holders before enabling services like e-transfers. They'll also require banks to have policies and procedures to detect consumer-focused fraud. The Canadian Bankers Association is on board and applauds the move to have a central financial crimes agency.
There's a lot of skills that involve, you know, the white collar, the movement of money, the complexities. And so having people that can be focused on that would be critical.
This is one of the many pre-budget announcements the government is making leading up to November 4th. And today, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre called on the Prime Minister to keep the deficit under $42 billion, something Mark Carney has already signaled will not happen. Mike Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
The remains of another Israeli hostage have been returned by Hamas to Israel. The U.S. is stepping up diplomatic efforts to try and save the fragile truce. Israel released video today of army vehicles and bulldozers towing blocks to create the Yellow Line in Gaza, marking the military pullback that was part of the peace plan. Israel and Hamas have accused each other of violating the ceasefire after 2 Israeli soldiers were killed, which led to a bombardment, leaving 28 people dead in Gaza. The Louvre was closed again today as police investigated daring jewel theft. Newspapers in France are calling it the heist of the century. The decision to shutter the renowned museum disappointed tourists.
I think they should have announced the closure last night rather than this morning after everybody was already in line. But it's a shame.
Thieves broke into the museum using power tools in broad daylight and got away with multiple crown jewels adorned with thousands of diamonds and precious gemstones. French President Emmanuel Macron has vowed that the perpetrators will be found. It is do or die night for the Jays in their quest for the American League Championship. Jays mania has spread far beyond Toronto with the hopes of a nation firmly behind the team. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more on the excitement and anxiety right across the country.
When the Northern Lights are their brightest, this baseball team has brought a nation to its collective feet. It's been 32 years since Joe Carter touched them all. A decade since Batista's blast. Though this current iteration of the Toronto Blue Jays has fans flying high once again, prompting some to hop a flight for the big game, with one pilot even sketching the Blue Jays logo with his flight path over Nova Scotia.
You got a diamond, you got 9 men.
Canadian rock stars have been strumming along this postseason to the Blue Jays anthem.
You got them to spring till fall.
In Victoria, fans caught the ferry to games 3, 4, and 5 in Seattle.
There's only 30 teams in the MLB, and Canada only has one of them, but it only takes one to win.
Lifelong Expos fans are even pulling for Vladdy's senior son, taking the trip from Montreal.
We're going to Game 7.
Yes! This postseason run has brought families and Canadians together and given rise to the next generation of Blue Jays Nation.
We're very excited. Let's go, Blue Jays!
It might be fall in Canada, but hope does spring eternal across the country this October with one common goal, one common purpose.
Okay, Blue Jays, let's play ball.
Still ahead, popular apps and websites are recovering after a major internet outage.
I had a bunch of interviews lined up this morning using Zoom.
Why outages like this are becoming more common. Plus, Hudson's Bay blankets are getting a new home. Looking at the markets, the Canadian dollar closed at 71 cents U.S. Oil was up 16 cents, closing the day at $57.15 a barrel. Gold lost more than $91. The TSX ended the day lower, down 350 points. The Dow Jones up higher, closing 230 points. A major internet outage affected millions of users worldwide today. It was all because of a problem with Amazon's cloud computing service, AWS. CTV's John Van Valley Rao reports.
For users of some web services, this was the message they got this morning. Unable to connect to popular sites like language learning platform Duolingo and social media giant Snapchat. An outage that the site Down Detector says affected more than 2,000 companies.
I had a bunch of interviews lined up this morning using Zoom, and I couldn't use Zoom while this outage was in the midst, so I had to flip to a plan B.
Some Delta and United Airlines passengers in the U.S. reported problems accessing their online reservations, while in the U.K. there were bank customers who couldn't log into their accounts. The issues all stemming from a problem with Amazon Web Services.
At AWS,
which is the world's largest provider of cloud computing services, which many businesses and governments rely on.
Because these individual companies are so large and have such a big share of the market, it does have this cascading impact where one system goes down, then another, and then suddenly half the internet is gone.
The outage was first reported at around 3 this morning Eastern Time. A few hours later, Amazon said it had narrowed down the source of the problem, though connection issues persisted. An outage that also affected Amazon's own service, along with Disney, McDonald's, and others. Since 2020, there's been several large internet disruptions. Experts say part of the problem is a growing dependence on a small number of global cloud services and shows how fragile the backbone of the internet can be.
This is a clear sign that having a cloud infrastructure that is so monopolistic is problematic.
Meanwhile, experts say this appears to have been the result of a fault at a data center and nothing to suggest it was a cyber attack. John Van Valley Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
Canadian Tire will soon start to sell the distinctive Hudson's Bay blanket. The company says proceeds from the sales will go to Indigenous-led initiatives. Canadian Tire has promised to put at least $1 million into the fund, even if it doesn't sell $1 million worth of blankets. Canadian Tire bought Hudson's Bay intellectual property when the Bay declared bankruptcy. After more than a decade of work, an Edmonton community is celebrating a major achievement. The Kenora Community League has reached its fundraising goal to revitalize its centre. Committee members say the retrofit will make the building as close to net zero as possible. It will include solar panels and improved insulation to limit the amount of greenhouse gases produced by the building. The centre will also get upgrades to its bathrooms, flooring, and entryway. The league says the work is beginning as younger families are moving into the neighborhood.
Today's needs are different than the neighborhood needs of 20 years ago, 30 years ago when this hall was last really renovated. So we're looking for input. We want to make it a more accommodating place and a vibrant place for people in the neighborhood to come and enjoy the space. It's theirs.
Both the federal government and the city have contributed to the project. The Edmonton Valley Zoo is offering kids some tricks, treats, and education this Halloween season. This is Boo at the Zoo, and in addition to traditional Halloween festivities, there's also learning stations. Kids can find out about things like the link between conservation and candy.
Halloween is just a great event. We also do it to help promote the idea of everyone buying candy which either is palm oil free or contains sustainable palm oil products. When palm oil is, if not harvested sustainably, it can lead to deforestation of rainforests, which is a problem for a lot of our animal friends like orangutans.
Boo at the Zoo runs again next weekend. Still ahead, enduring harsh Alberta winters.
A lot of the dogs that are out there, can't survive winter without any shelter.
How a local initiative is working with Indigenous communities to protect their outdoor dogs.
Just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Edmonton, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Programming brought to you by Southview Acura. For family-owned, award-winning excellence, Southview Acura, where luxury meets reality.
As temperatures drop, a local initiative is working with Indigenous communities to protect their outdoor dogs from the cold. CTV's Sasha Pietramala has more.
He's one of our dogs from the community.
This is Bowser. For dogs like him, living outside year-round is the reality, even during harsh Alberta winters.
A lot of the dogs that are out there, can't survive winter without any shelter or protection, and with a lack of resources available out there to them.
The Paws Up program is doing what they can to help out before the snow starts to fall.
We build dog houses and provide them for those that need them.
This weekend, they delivered 26 shelters for dogs living outdoors in Indigenous communities. Each house is insulated and filled with straw, giving each pup enough warmth to get by.
We have actually had one of our community members' dogs give birth in one of the dog houses in the wintertime. So luckily, all her babies survived because we were able to provide the shelter for them.
For volunteers helping out, that's what drives the hard work.
I just want them all to get homes. If I had an acreage, I'd probably have 20 dogs on it.
Paws Up Vice President Kirsten Yakimowicz says these shelters are a drop in the bucket when compared to how many dogs need them.
We could probably build 100 dog houses, and it still won't be enough.
This is the program's third consecutive year building and delivering dog houses. Yesterday, dogs on Alexis Nakota Sioux Nation and Paul First Nation received their fetching new homes.
I love seeing the dogs get new homes too. It's very rewarding sometimes to see them find their homes.
Paws Up also provides grooming and vet care in the communities, as well as feeding hundreds of dogs and dozens of cats through its weekly Meals on Wheels program. Sasha Pietramala, CTV News, Edmonton.
Warming up over the next few days. We'll see some clear skies through the early evening hours, but then increasing cloud overnight tonight and a slight chance of an overnight shower. Then partly cloudy tomorrow and a high of 13. Should be in the mid to upper teens for daytime highs Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And as we said earlier, even the long range looks fairly mild through the weekend and into early next week. Trending cooler for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in the 6 or 7 degree range. But as you can see, that is still no worse than about average.
Looks just fine. Thanks, Josh, and thank you for sharing your time with us. Please join us tonight at 11 for some special municipal election coverage. Have a great evening.